Hey, back at you again with another video. Interesting topic we have here today, but before I get into all of that, I do have some news for you all. So, my old Discord server is pretty much dead, so in light of that, I'll be making a new one. The server is still in development at the current moment, but mod applications will either be released with this video or soon after, and I'll put it in the description once the form is fully figured out. I plan to launch the server sometime next month. Other than average Discord activity, I want to host events in the server that will be made into videos here on the channel. If any of that sounds interesting to you, make sure you keep an eye out. And one more thing before I move on to our main topic, I want to give huge thanks for over 1,000 followers on TikTok. All support is greatly appreciated. That's a big number, you know? You know what I'm saying? And it means a lot to me, personally. Now, with all of that out of the way, let's talk about this interview. Ah, yes, Fox News. Pinnacle of trusted news sources and totally not right-wing propaganda. For a bit of context for this interview, this is in response to minors not being allowed at Megaplex, a furry convention in the state of Florida that was held earlier this year. According to the New York Post, after reviewing SB 1438, it has been decided for legal reasons and protection of our attendees, our venue, and the overall convention, Megaplex 2023 attendees must be 18 years of age at the time of registration pickup. And what is SB 1438 about, anyways? It's the Protection of Children Act signed into law earlier in May by Ron DeSantis, the fascist. This law bans children from attending adult live performances, mainly targeted at drag performers. Although it is a good idea to keep children out of adult-themed shows, the perception of the fandom made the notion of allowing minors to attend ground-raising to some, making it compromising for Megaplex to allow minors at the convention. We'll get more into the suitor that's in this interview later, as he has his own can of worms.
Oh, for me, absolutely. I'm hoping it's fun for everyone around me. The joy of bringing smiles to everyone's face is really the only reason that I like to do this. Getting smiles and bringing people happiness in all sorts of ways. The furries, I know specifically, are great at art and dance and theatrical performance, and it all brings with it.
Well, I mean, you're also great at spankings. Did you see the video we just played? What's going on with the spankings at the furry conventions?
Well, there's a popular restaurant called the Habra House, and this is a restaurant that is pretty close to one of the conventions that we set up every year. And at the Habra House, it's customary in Germanic tradition to, I guess, slap the asses of all of the patrons.
I feel like this is just a bad way to address that sort of thing. Like earlier in the actual news broadcast, they showed a TikTok of some furry getting spanked, average furry activities. But why would you address it that way? Also, if you look at the title card down there, stereotyping that the whole fandom is just a sexual thing. This isn't a new issue either. People always assume it's a sex thing when you tell them that you're a furry. And it's not like that type of fandom doesn't exist, but it exists everywhere. Like, let's get real for a minute. We all know about Rule 34. If you like Star Trek, guess what? There's porn of it. What about Marvel? If we look up Spider-Man on R34 right now. Branding the fandom as a solely sexual thing is just one of the many factors that hurts the image of the community as a whole. Every community has things that are maybe unsavory to certain people, but those individual acts do not define the fandom as a whole.
Okay.
I don't know why.
I didn't know the Germans were into that kind of kink, but there's a lot I don't know. So why do you want kids around people dressed up as squirrels getting spanked?
What did he say?
Me personally, I don't. I think that it's a definitely an adult-only environment for that. The furry conventions themselves don't have anything to do with that, though. The furry conventions themselves are really about community and bringing people together.
This is actually somewhat of a good point, as conventions themselves are usually PG-13 and encourage the collective of the fandom to have a place to gather. The fandom consists of a good chunk of minors, as does any fan base. However, furries don't really want kids there, per se. That's understandable for many reasons. Children might grab and poke at fursuiters, or just may not fully know convention etiquette, making it displeasing to some. And when kids are present, there are strict rules against any sort of NSFW content to ensure that it will be a safe space for minors when they do choose to attend a con.
You know, a lot of us, we're not so socially, it's a little bit tough.
Okay.
You know, it's easy to make fun of furries.
So why are you upset that kids are not allowed to be at the furry convention?
Well, me personally, I think that it is a great way to include everyone, no matter, you know, what their age. It's nothing. There's nothing inherently sexual about these conventions. You have panels that teach you how to create costumes or dance or you know, we have variety shows and all kinds of stuff, but it's not sexual. It has nothing to do with that.
Conventions themselves are not sexual. It's just a big event like Comic-Con or any other convention for any sort of large fan base. The stereotype that is always perpetuated that the fandom is solely sexual is what's so detrimental to the image as a whole.
Okay, you say it's not sexual. That's fine. We have video that proves otherwise.
Squad laughing with that one.
But if, like, the governor said you can't have kids at the convention, why wouldn't you just say, okay, it's too bad, move on? Why are you and your crew so insistent on having the kids there?
So I don't think that there's a huge backlash, but I mean, I could be wrong. There's, from my understanding, it is, from my understanding, the convention just wants to avoid any legal gray areas that might be present in the law. It's you know, we're misunderstood as a group, and it's very easy to vilify us.
Okay. Do you blame yourself at all for being misunderstood? I mean, you're the one dressed up as a raccoon.
Oh, absolutely. I think that this is absolutely crazy and weird and fun. And that's the point. I think, you know, it's supposed to gain attention. I like being on stage. I like performing as a character. I like bringing joy to people.
Okay.
That's why I
If
do
I
it.
came to
You know,
one of
there
your
are hundreds of thousands
conventions,
of furries.
David, or maybe we sent Johnny to the convention, what should we dress up as?
You can dress up however you want. We've had Jack Sparrows show up. We've had all kinds of different animals. What kind of animal do you think you would be?
Probably a dinosaur. David?
A dinosaur. I like that.
I got to run. Good luck. And don't sweat
Thank you
too
for
much.
having me on.
Thank you.
I just feel like the way the suitor handled the interview was just generally bad. Like, you can physically feel the cringe whenever he's trying to explain himself. Now speaking of the suitor, when I was trying to find the original video on Twitter so I could, you know, make this video in the first place, I did come across a few tweets talking about who the suitor was. And the suitor was identified as the Ty Slade on Twitter. He put up a poll saying that I've been asked to do a 5-minute interview in fursuit with Jesse Waters on Fox, addressing the recent bill by DeSantis and the new policy decision by Megaplex to exclude minors from attending this year. Should I do it? An overwhelming 67.6% of the 102 voters advised him to turn down the interview. I don't know, maybe because it was with Fox News. You know, people that spread right-wing, racist, and homophobic propaganda. Just exactly what the people of the fandom want to have represent them.
in a cage.
Wah,
I read
wah.
about did you say want to a 10-year-old with Down syndrome?
Like, this interview didn't make the fandom look any better. It just made the entire community look stupid. Not to mention, Vital Slate themselves is known in the fandom for being a, quote, alt-right conservative anti-vax crypto bro. Explains why Dealer's Den is so dead, since he literally is the one who owns it. Along with Slade's idiotic decision to even agree to this interview, despite many warnings not to do so, you see that suit you see him wearing? Apparently, it's a stolen suit. That's not even their suit. They have other fursuits. The one they wore for the interview was reportedly stolen many weeks ago. They likely bought a quick disposable suit for the interview and turned out they bought a stolen suit. However, a Reddit this week doubts they stole it themselves. Now, these are not proven claims, but it is a substantial amount of people talking about the fact this suit was probably stolen, so take this with a grain of salt. On a serious note, this whole ordeal hurt the image of the entire fandom as a collective, no matter how you look at it. Fox News has an average of 1.1 million viewers according to Google, meaning a huge chunk of people now have this incredibly skewed perception of the fandom. Perpetuating this idea that furry fandom is solely a fetish thing makes those who are part of the fandom second guess telling their friends or feeling that they're furry. I remember when I was younger how bad the perception of furries were. It took years before it was something I even openly stated to my friends or family or even classmates because of that bad perception. And it's every fur that has to deal with this dilemma at work or just in general public. The whole point of the interview was to poke fun at the fandom, and he fell right into their hands. I just don't really see what made Slade think this was a good idea. But that is all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you watched all the way to the end, I really appreciate it. Since you made it to the end, make sure you leave a like if you liked it, and a comment about your thoughts on the situation. If you aren't subscribed already, make sure to click that button so you know when I upload next. Also, Modern Warfare gameplay. Trying something new since the speed paves don't really fill the entire screen, and I don't like how that looks. Plus, I play an unhealthy amount of COD, so it makes sense. Always be sure to follow me on all my socials and check out my Ko-Fi, where you can support me directly and see exclusive behind-the-scenes content. Until then, I will see you in the next video. Stay frosty.